lower.
When you shoot an enemy in CSGO, you rightfully expect your shot to register. CSGO's hitboxes have been the cause of many complaints over the years, to the point where Valve totally redid them, replacing the basic blocky hitboxes with sexy smooth balls. So how do they perform now? I put them to the test. I'll be covering the terrorist models today, starting with the Anarchist, which you'll only find on Office. From the side you'll see that the hitboxes are much larger than the legs that they represent. Ideally they should be the same size, but if they don't match then I'd rather that the hitboxes were larger than the models. Why? Well, let's look at the opposite. The front of the hoodie is beyond the hitbox, meaning that a headshot here won't count. You could argue that this is realistic. Why should clothing count as the player? I'd argue that in more realistic games that this would be less of a problem. Whereas as you move towards the twitch shooting nature of Doom or Quake, the player models serve less as player models and more as simply being hitboxes to aim at. CSGO is somewhere between these two extremes, so where you lie on this issue, it's really down to you. Though I can understand people feeling cheated if they miss a killing shot because they expected this kind of shot to register. And of course the bag on the back is a no-no. No, you don't just add bags to player models. For those shooting at the player, it's frustrating to have such a large target that doesn't count. And as the player himself, it's annoying to have a bit of your model poking out, giving away your position when otherwise you'd be hidden. I appreciate the detail and effort that have gone into these character models, but I'm not a fan of bags. Moving on to the Balkan model now. These guys don't skip leg day as much as the Anarchists do, but you can still see that the hitboxes are bigger. It seems to be the limitation with the new hitbox shape. It can't get narrower on one end like the upper leg does, and they'd have to use two of them to properly model the lower leg. I'm not a fan of the bags around the waist either. You can see them sticking out both from the side and in front. The fluffy bit on their coat that keeps their neck warm also sticks out, and although the hat seems like a sensible choice, this also pokes out a bit, but not enough for me to complain about too much. The front view shows a more concerning issue that the head hitbox model itself is too far to one side. You'll notice this with most models. The Leet Crew have fantastic sausagey legs that really work well with the new hitbox designs. They just need to work on their quads a bit more. You know, so they can be shot there. They could also build up their shoulders a little more and to perhaps tuck their hanky helmets in around the back, but otherwise I think that this model is the best we've seen yet. Clearly White Dust 2 is the best map ever. Ooh, but wait a second. The Phoenix Connection are here. One of the models to have been updated rather recently. Their baggy trousers are the first to fill up the hitboxes, perhaps going a little too far the other way. Even their hefty boots can't fill up the box they're given. It's not exactly a bit of the model that you want to be aiming at, though it's certainly generous with the hit reg. Their forearms are way too small. There are a couple of suspect things dangling from the waist that poke out too far, but I think it's safe to say that they have one of the most sensible head designs in the game. Unless they want to protect themselves. I don't know. The pirates aren't really seen a lot outside of the less popular game modes. Their backpack is a crime. The head's too big, their upper leg's too small, but I will give them credit for sporting some of the largest and most fashionable shoes in the game. From the front, you can see that their upper body and arms aren't very well represented either. The professional also carries a bag and a collar 5 sizes too large, but other than that, he's not too bad. The shoulders still fail to match up, but at least any shot that should register on this guy will do. I said earlier that the head hitbox is too much to one side. Well, for this guy, it's too much the other way. And lastly, it's the controversial Separatist model. In general, he comfortably fits inside his hitbox, but the standard problems of belt items and sticky out collars still apply. Not to mention a stupid hat. Like, seriously, it pokes out too far both sides and the top. I would say it deserves to be shot, but it wouldn't achieve anything. Valve, please fix. Finally, I'd like to stress that this is only a limited test of the standing models, from the side and the front. The hitboxes do move as the animations of the models do too, though I felt that by showing you the moving animations throughout this video that you could judge for yourself whether you felt it matches them properly. Personally, I think that Valve have done a good job of them in their current state, though if you still feel you're missing your shots in game, be sure to also factor in the lag and netcode, as well as your own shots. You might just be rubbish.